Dearly beloved, welcome to a special episode with a special guest on a special topic. All the things today are special, just like you and the work that you're here to do in the world. Today's conversation is going to be about the topic, none other than business models. I myself I pride myself in business model tinkering. I have been tinkering with models since the beginning of my entrepreneurial adventure 20 years ago. And I have tried a lot of business models from premiums to freemiums to partnerships, client work, revenue shares, licensing, signature workshop, touring, one-to-one coaching, group coaching, building high-end evergreen courses that were entertainment based to building high end courses that are delivered live to in person to retreats to all the other things in between to touring in person, online, et cetera, so on and so forth. There's so many different ways that we could take things when it comes to designing a business model that fits your audience, that fits your life's work, your desired lifestyle, your needs for income that you're going to develop, your passions, and your creative gifts. There's a lot of ways we could take it. And today we are joined than none other than Mr. Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies. Tad, thanks for helping us find some sanity in this topic that could go in every direction possible.
Welcome. Yeah, amen. The first thing I think to say about business model, I think of as the structure, the architecture of your business. And your profitability as a business comes from your business model, not from your marketing. You can market really well, but if the business model is rough, it's like you can host a party in a home and you invite a lot of people come. And, you play the music so loud, you dance so hard, and the house just falls apart. If I'm selling pens and this pen costs me 10 cents to make, but I'm only selling it for 5 cents, that's not a marketing issue. It's a business model issue.
Yeah.
And better marketing will make me go broke faster.
Yes.
So this is one of the biggest deals. This business model is building the house that you're going to live in, and you're going to live in it for a while. So you might as well enjoy it. It's got to keep you dry. It has to work. It has to be beautiful. It has to, feel good to be in it. It's got to do the things that you would want a home to do. Or if, you think about traveling, it's building a boat. So, because otherwise, without the business model, you're swimming or you're on a raft. You're living in a tent instead of a log cabin. And the first question I think that people need to consider is, do you want a hobby or do you want a business? Great to have a hobby. You don't need to monetize every square inch of your life. Hobbies are great. But I think where people get into trouble is they get ambivalent about it. They haven't really decided one way or the other. So it's a terrible place to be because then you feel torn, like you're failing all the time. If you just decide it's a hobby, then, just stop listening now and enjoy. This is something you do for fun on the side. Maybe you make a bit of money, but not much. You're not relying on it to function like that. But if it's a business, that requires different things. It requires a lot more upfront investment. And, there's 4 criteria I give for business model. It's got to be simple. It's got to be satisfying. It's got to be sustainable. And then it's got to be safe. So, simple, like not too many moving parts. It's got to be something that you can do easily. There's not going to be a lot of things slipping through the cracks. It's satisfying, meaning it really feels good. You like doing the work in that way. If you hate doing group programs, but you set up your business model where that's what you're doing, why? Or if you like doing one-on-one, but your business model is set up so that your one-on-one is $500 per person per hour, and and nobody books. What's the point? And then it's got to be sustainable. You've got to be able to do this over time. You've got to be able to live in this house for years. Got to be on this boat for a long, long time. And that's got to be safe, meaning mostly safe for people to check you out from a distance to see if what you're doing works. And if you can get all 4 of those criteria in a business model, your business is probably going to do really well. But for most people, they score very low on pretty much all of those things. And they can't figure out why they're struggling. And they think, well, my ethics are good. I got my niche really clear. I got a really compelling point of view. So why am I still broke? And almost always that comes down to the business model, the offers and how those offers connect to each other, much more than the getting their name out there or even the deep work. So if you're not profitable and you've been in business a while and you can't figure out why not, could be you're not reaching enough people. But I would bet a lot of money that a good chunk of it has to do with the structure you've created or not created at all.
I love this, and a couple stories popped into my head, just real quick stories that prove the sample. So back in 2007, my buddy Matthew and I, who you know, we launched the gratitude dance video. That video went viral in 2007, and we were the Gratidudes back then. And this was my early days as an entrepreneur, and I was still figuring out the internet and still figuring out teaching workshops and coaching and stuff like that. And we had no business model. Our business model was like get speaking gigs, but speaking gigs to high school students didn't pay very well. And so even though our video went viral, we probably had 100 or so media interviews over the course of a year and a half, TV, radio, newspaper, magazines, etc., about this YouTube video we did, but we had no way of capturing it. We didn't have a business model. I'm sure if we had a business model back then, we would have done very, very well because we got so much traffic. And the second thing around just like the having too many moving parts so they don't all flow together. A buddy of mine sent me a triangle yesterday with his business model, and it was like all the moving parts of how he's funneling people through all the things. And he is a solopreneur who works part-time as a therapist and a coach. And he had 21 different parts of his business that are like his free offerings, his marketing, his coaching, his programs, courses, etc. And I was just like, dude, you're one person. Unless you're hiring somebody that's going to take on a bunch of these roles, you got to choose. You have to simplify it and narrow it down, shrink it from 21 to like maybe 4 or 5 core things that you just go all in on, one of them being a signature workshop, because you're going to get overwhelmed and you're not going to do any of these things well. So yeah, go for it.
Well, one of my colleagues, Gemma Gilbert, she was at my workshop in London in October 2023. And she did this little presentation that was so good where she talked about having a simple business model. And there were 5 things, let's see if I can remember them, but it was basically pick one way you're going to reach clients, like to generate new leads. So that could be Facebook ads. Okay, pick one and do that. Pick one way you're going to do this sort of conversion, or one way they can try you out to see if it's a fit, some offer that's free, but pick one thing. So maybe that's a group call you do once a week for free. Maybe that's a starter kit that you create. Maybe it's just your email list. Who knows what it is, but pick one thing. Pick one way that you nurture the relationship with them. Pick one offer that you do as a follow-up, and pick one way of engaging with people about, joining that higher end offer. So for her, that, is this kind of discovery call thing, but it's just pick one for each of those.
Yeah.
And make it as simple as possible. That's not true for me. My simplicity is not my strongest ranking on those 4 things. But I've also hired a lot of people to help with that. If I was trying to do this on my own, I would have burned out profoundly a few years ago.
Same.
There's no way I could keep it going. And the other thing I was going to say about what you said with the Gratitudes is, yeah, people think, oh, yeah, if I could just have something go viral, that's all it would take. But it's like you can turn on the faucet, and that's good. You got water coming out, but if you got no bucket to hold it, that's a problem. Or you got a bucket with a leak in it, or the bucket isn't big enough.
Yeah. So
the business model is the bucket in this conversation. And most people just do not have that bucket ready.
Yeah.
At all. And so then they're parched, they just have no water and they're dying of thirst, which is cash flow and money.
Well, and the viral video hope is also, it's a myth. Like last month we did our comedy videos for Majik Kids. We had 1.5 million views on YouTube, and that's all driving traffic to our landing page. Then they go from our landing page to the app, and they download the app. And sure, we've grown to, we're getting now 1 to 5 subscribers a day joining the app, mostly as a result of those campaigns. But what we found as we started to drive all this traffic is we got to see where the leaks were in our hose as people were going through each step of the process. And then we had to come in and repair, like, oh, our onboarding actually needs to be better. Or actually, this was kind of confusing when they went to download the app. They had to do this extra step. And so we had to like keep refining the hose. And that's why what you're talking about is like, if you just have one, and one that you get really good at, and you keep refining those systems and making them better and better so that they're more scalable, so that people get better results and a better experience through each step of that journey, then once that's really solid, then you could build another thing. It's like, actually, I'm inspired to do a new program, but having it systemized and streamlined so that it's all flowing really well. And that's what we're doing Majik Kids, which is just a baby.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah, because so much of business is this tinkering. There's a kind of engineering mindset that comes in.
Yeah.
I talk a lot about, the artist and the entrepreneur, but so the idea that your business is basically the child that's the result of the marriage between the artist and the entrepreneur.
Yes.
But it takes a village to raise a child. And one of the people you need in the village of a business are the engineers, who can come in and look at the structure you've built and just like, where's the house leaking? Where's the water getting in the boat? Where's the water leaving the bucket? Somebody who knows how to deal with structural architectural issues, which is tough for hippies, because for hippies, we're so freedom-based and we don't like structure generally.
Yeah.
And that's the downfall of so many hippies in business, the unwillingness to contend with limit and reality and structures means there is no structure, because I like my freedom so much. But that addiction to freedom, the kind of puer aeternus, the flying child, the eternal child, the Peter Pan, that child will kill your business.
Yeah.
Because that child has no idea what it's doing in the real world. So we need that engineering part of us or others to come in. And it's you don't want to have a dashboard that has 100 numbers you need to track. There just need to be a few numbers, right? So like, yeah, how many people are the Facebook ads reaching? How many of those people are going to the website?
Yeah.
How many of those people are signing up for the email list? How many of those people are buying the offer we give to them? How many of those people ultimately join the membership? Done.
Yeah.
Just you don't want more than 10 numbers that you're having to keep track of. So it's got to be, as simple as possible. And it's got to be something that is satisfying. I mean, that's, Alex Baisley, who we both know and love, his core message that I got years ago was that you don't start with the business model. You start with the lifestyle you want to have, and you build your business model around it.
Yeah.
I remember being in a home some friends in Edmonton had built. It was this what you call it, like a carbon zero kind of home, energy efficient home, and I fucking hated the layout so much. Yeah, like on a values level, great, but like, oh my god, it's just I couldn't stand the layout. It was no good for me, and so I couldn't live in that. I wouldn't want to live in that house, and you're going to be living in your business.
Yeah,
every day. It's got to give you the lifestyle you want to have.
Yeah, it's interesting just talking about the metrics. Last week, just for the signature workshop, which is for Majik Media, that's one of my main marketing strategies. It is the main marketing strategy, is just teaching my one workshop again and again. Last week, we sent roughly 25 to 30 emails, and we had 7 book within a week for me to go teach workshops to them. Last week, we had one partner host or one host send out one email to their audience about my upcoming workshop on the 29th of June. And we had 292 new subscribers join as a result of that. It's just like, and people are banging their head against the wall 40 hours, 50 hours a month on social media. And it's the model doesn't work. And it's also not suiting their desired lifestyle. They feel anxious, they're stressed, they're trying to keep up with the Joneses, they're always comparing themselves and feeling like they're not doing enough to grow their business. and it's like it's a simple pivot, and I love simplicity, you know. There, and the other thing that I see a lot of people doing is they're trying to sell evergreen courses too early in their business, where they
Oh,
should be trying to get as many one-to-one coaching clients as possible in the early days, and then get into group coaching when they've filled up their one-to-one, when they've worked with enough people, when they have enough of a waiting list of people that are demanding a lower priced offering, or that are demanding, you know, more group programs and stuff. And it's like in the beginning, it's like as simple as possible, because business is overwhelming as it is.
yeah. One is there's, I mean, you and I both have a very similar sense for most service providers of a fairly basic business model. And I'll give my version, you give your
Yeah.
version. And you know, Bradley and I came up with this independently, and realized we saw it the same way. That, to me, the basis is you come up with what I used to call an intro workshop. Bradley calls a signature workshop, but you come up with the kind of 101 level. You're dealing with this problem, you want this result. Here's my take on it. You design that, and you get that hosted by other people. You just get in front of those people. Nothing seems to work better for a service provider than just getting in front of people and sharing your thoughts on the issue. And of course, in that signature workshop, you're sharing your story, you're sharing your point of view, you're giving people some real tangible experience of an aha, and then you're just telling them what else you have. But this is the business model thing. If you get to the end of your signature workshop, you say, if you want to work with me, I have 52 different options, so different levels, and you know, and you try to go through them. People are so overwhelmed. It's much better to, I mean, no more than three. But ideally, there's just kind of, here's the next step. Here's one thing.
Yeah.
If it can be that simple, that's ideal. But no more than three. But it's just simple. Here's what I've got if you're interested in working with me. So for me, I'd say, if you like what I have to say, I've got a membership. You know, here's the deal. If that's too much, I've got a starter kit. It's free. You can just check it out. So I've got two things. Boom. You know, so then that's like a 1-2 business model. I don't have anything at this moment beyond that, but that's what I'm going to be moving into. And that's how I built my entire business, touring around, doing live evening long workshops, 2 to 3 hours. They were free in the beginning. Then it was a sliding scale. Then it just, I think then I just made it $30, $40. And I just toured it around. And then that went into a weekend workshop. And that was my whole business model at the time. And I've shifted, thanks to Bradley, to this membership model. And that was it. Really simple. Now, once I built that, of course, I added ebooks. I can sell those, but it's kind of passive on the side. I do webinars from time to time. That's on the side. But the main business model is signature workshop now to membership. And I'm
Yeah.
curious, Bradley, what are your thoughts?
Well, and I just wanted to add to that is like you even simplified your pricing. You know, in the beginning you had multiple price points, and now it's just like, here's the price. This is the price, and it's either a yes or a no. Yeah, I agree with that. For me, I do my signature workshop. I have, because we have the agency side of Majik Media where we'll do a big build, but that is like, it's few and far between people are the right fit for those types of partnerships for us. And so the main things, like right now, I'm promoting the signature workshop training this September, or join the Majik Mind. And the Majik Mind includes the signature workshop training plus all my other courses plus 3 live events a week. And so it's really simple. And then people who don't want to do my membership, I have one-to-one coaching, and or I'll offer
Right.
like a custom coaching retreat or something like that. But again, like that type of stuff, it's less of the focus. Those offers are for the people that are like, I want you, I want your team, and I want to get this done now.
Yeah, amen. It's just good to know what is the core thing you're promoting. What's the core
Yeah.
business model? Like
Yeah.
I also do my puttering sessions, my one-on-one coaching. And that's, you know, I just put out an email once in a while, they fill up and I'm done. But I'm not scheming about that. I'm not, you know, it's a part of the business model,
Yeah.
but the core business model, you know, it's got to be something that's going to grow our list. and it's got to be something that gets people ultimately into the programs we want people to get into. And sometimes there may need to be a few levels. My membership's $100 a month, so that's not a huge lift for people. But if you're, let's say it's a $5,000 a month or something, some really high-end coaching thing, okay, then you might need a membership as well. And there's a step beyond that, because you may need to build a cadre, a pool of people who are slowly building up, and then will want to invest more deeply. Because if you take out some of the middle levels and you just go from, hey, here I am on Instagram, sign up for my $50,000 thing, that's too big a leap for people. So there needs to be something in between, but not 200 things in between.
Yeah.
Not so many tiny steps, but just the right size and distance of steps to, cultivate people who might eventually sign up for that.
Yeah.
And, it's just a question of like, what's the heart of your business model? What's the thing that you're primarily driving most of the traffic to, that you want to be doing from a lifestyle perspective the most, and build everything around that.
Yeah. I just finished leading a program that was kind of the sequel training to the signature workshop training, around helping people develop their flagship training. And so the signature workshop, free 60-minute workshop, and then the flagship training that we just finished is something that they could launch every quarter or so, or twice a year. That's a 4-week training that they develop, that is like a weekly 2-hour long workshop that they're teaching, that they could then send people to. It's a less than $500 investment, was kind of the average, $300 to $500 to join this 4-week training. And that gives people a doable, accessible stepping stone if they want to jump from, say, the signature workshop to that 4-week flagship training. Then you can just keep running that again and again. And while you're touring your signature workshop, you have this group program, if you don't have a group program already. And that's a great model as well for people that say may not have a membership right now. They're not prolific at creating content, but they want to do group work as well as their one-to-one coaching.
That's great. It's fantastic.
And it's fun. Once you do these things, you can just keep repeating them. Like the signature workshop training this year, I did it last year, and now it's an annual thing that I will just keep running once a year.
That's probably one of the big points I want to make for people. Is the biggest mistake I see people make on business model is that either not having one at all, or constantly doing new stuff. So people have this thought, well, once a quarter, yes, I do a retreat or a big event, and it's different every time. I do a webinar, but it's always a different webinar all the time, and that will wear you down.
Yeah.
Ideally, what you have is this one signature workshop that you can just do over and over and over again. The advantage of this, of course, is it gets better and better and better over time. And you have one, as you're saying, this kind of, 4-week, this is the 4-week deeper dive. And in that, and you do that one again and again and again. And all this comes back to the niche conversation. But simplifying the business model so you can redo things, you can repeat things. Just today I did, it's my first time doing this call in the niching arc around ideal client, doing this particular call this way. And I learned something really important in that call, and I'm doing it again tonight, and it'll improve. The last couple of days, I did the same class for my point of view semester 4 times, because I'd had to reschedule a call and I wanted to make sure people could attend. So I did it 4 different times. And man, by the 4th time, I'd made all of these little tinkers and improvements. And next year, I've got the outline there. It's ready to go. I'm not going to have to sit down and reinvent it, which is so much of the wear and tear. That's where a lot of the leak is in the bucket is, or you're trying to remake a bucket every time you go to the well. And it's just, man, make one bucket, you don't have to make a new house to live in every year. Make one house that you can live in. You might build additions to it. Yeah, that's fine. You got some extra bandwidth. Okay, we're going to put an addition. We're going to add the patio and veranda this year. We're going to put in the root cellar this year. That's a great idea. That's fantastic. But don't rebuild the house itself every year. Start with the stable foundation, and then you can build as you go.
I agree with that completely. It's it's a beautiful thing to feel grounded in simplicity and clarity when it comes to describing what people's options are, and that there's only, as you said, like here's one option or up to three options. And I have fun running programs. If I get an idea for like a 3 hour deep dive workshop around comedy writing or story writing, or I do one every January around scheduling your success and mapping out your 12-month calendar and how do you fit things in and how do you themify your days. And I charge those. Usually those go for $200 to $300, but if you're in my membership, they're included. And that's just a part of my ecosystem. Is you can buy all of my courses as one-off programs if you want to pay the several $100s, or you just pay the monthly subscription. I know that's the same for you. And what would you say? When is it the right time to create a membership? And when is it the wrong time to create a membership? Because everybody fantasizes about a membership thinking like subscriptions equal passive income, which is far from the truth. So what would your thoughts be around that?
Don't, well, I think you can create a membership at any point. The caveat I would give about it is if you're in a place where you're broke and you just need, $5,000 to $10,000 a month of income, don't expect to start from a cold start and have that work out. You can start the membership tomorrow and have 3 people in it, and just build. If you're happy with it, it's no problem. They're happy, you're happy, great. You got a membership now. And you're just, serving those 3 people really well, and you're slowly growing it. Okay, great. Knock yourself out. There's no marketing hell you burn in for the sin of starting that small. But if you think, oh, I've seen people do memberships and I'm going to do this and I'm going to quit my job, and that's going to work, it probably not. If you've got to have enough of a following. If that's going to become the whole center of your world financially, you just have to have enough of a following where people are going to join in. And I would imagine that maybe 1% of the people on your list would join your membership. I think when you and I started with the membership, I probably had 10,000 people on my list, maybe.
Yeah.
And we got 150 or something who joined the membership.
Yeah.
So, think about it as just 1%. That's it. That's all who's going to be joining. And so if you only have 1,000 people on your list, okay, that's 10 people.
Yeah.
And then if you build it and you're still working your job, or you got some other source of income, or you got savings, it's fine. Start then, but don't imagine that you're going to have it full right away.
Yeah, and it's definitely not passive income. The thing about like a membership and online community is like these are relationships, and what do we need to do if we want to have thriving relationships is we have to show up and be present and serve the other and be thoughtful, and your mind is really ultimately constantly thinking about how do I keep improving the game. But what I love about having a subscription that people can subscribe to and they can show up to live calls and have templates is it just creates this ecosystem where you pull all of your life's work together under one roof. It becomes this legacy project that you just keep feeding, and it continues to just evolve itself. And it gives you this, instead of having 12 houses that you're trying to fill with your content, your ideas, and your trainings, it's just like it's all here. You pay for it once. It's a smorgasbord. And the way that I run mine is in my coaching sessions. If people are looking for answers on a specific topic or they're struggling with something, I can make resources for them, or I can prescribe resources I've already made. And it's just like a prescription that I'm offering of like, actually, this is go do these 3 things. They're already made. They're there for you. Come share your work once you're done and I'll give you feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a fan of the model myself.
Yeah. Beautiful. And speaking of business models, you've got your quarterly training is going to be around business models. Did you want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, right. So in the way I've structured the membership is I've got 4 semesters So there's one on the meantime about cash flow, point of view, business model, and then hub marketing. And then there's a year-long arc of niching with the whole thing. And so that repeats. So that's one thing I just want to underline. I'm not coming up with new semesters every year. I've got 4 semesters. I just rinse and repeat every year. It's the same semesters. It's the same content. It just gets better, cleaner, easier as I go. And the business model semester. So that July through September, it's 3 months, and we're going to just be walking through a lot of it. And I can even do maybe
you want to share
a screen share.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. This is the sales letter has an outline. But yeah, so if you go to marketingforhippies.com/business model-program, find it. And yeah, so this is the structure. The first week we're going to be looking at just evaluating your current business model. What have you got? Where are the leaks in the bucket? Is the bucket big enough? All of that. We're gonna then there's a study hall in week 2 where you get together with other people and do continue the work you did in this call. Then we do designing your new business model. What's the business model you want to have? And then another study hall. We're going to look at how do you craft compelling offers. The offer is kind of the single smallest unit of a business model. The business model is the ecosystem of your offers. So we're going to look at when you're crafting a single offer, how do you do that? What are the metrics? How do you make an offer that's really good? Another study hall. Then we're going to look at building internal systems in your business. The maintenance checklists of your business, which is so huge. This is something I feel very proud about at Marketing for Hippies, and I see really lacking in a lot of businesses is the systems are not very strong. And so then the challenge is when you hire new people, you got to just train them from nothing. And it's extremely expensive to do that versus here's the checklist for your job, knock yourself out. And that, how do you set up those systems and make it so they get better and better over time? So everybody's life is easier and easier. Another study hall. And then we're looking at how do you make your business safe to approach that safety issue? Because you can have a great business model, great offers, but if it's too big a risk for people to take that first step towards you, it's all over. And there's a lot of approaches you can do. Another study hall, and then we have a deep dive 3-hour call where we wrap it up and pull it all together. So that's the kind of flow of the thing. And so that's $100 US a month in the membership.
Beautiful.
And it's included, plus all the other stuff. Plus there's the niching arc going. So you'd have 3 calls in the niching arc, plus all my ebooks, my webinars. As Bradley's saying, it's all they're included. So that's what I got. Oh, and I got a webinar. I forgot. I got the webinar coming up on July 9th at some point in the day. So if you're curious about that, I think it's marketingforhippies.com/business-model-webinar. And that'll be a 2-hour call where we just do a 30,000-foot overview of business model. You'll have a chance to do a little bit of work during that call, but you'll leave with a really clear sense of how I see it, at least. Right.
So if you're struggling with your business model, or your business model is not getting you the results that you want, or you feel overwhelmed or out of alignment with your business model, I would say this is definitely the thing that you should do. Devote a couple hours per week for the summer months and go through this rebirthing process with Tad as your business model doula. And rebirth this, because once you find that clarity that we were talking about and that simplicity, and you can see the way the water flow just keeps flowing, you're going to be able to open up to more people hiring you for the things that you are doing in your business. So that all sounds wonderful. And we also have 6 free summer workshops as well, which I'm sure anybody out there watching or listening to this have seen links for. So make sure you check those out as well.
Yeah, amen. And if you're wanting general thoughts about business model, my semester is probably good. If you already know the signature workshop is the missing piece of your business model, then if you had to choose, I would say do the signature workshop thing. I know it's not that much, but if you have to choose, do the signature workshop program, because that is gonna give you something very, very specific and tangible done. You're gonna have probably done it a few times by the end. So if you already know that's the thing, make sure you do the thing. Work on the part of your business model that's missing.
Beautiful. And all the links that Tad has mentioned here and that I've mentioned will be in the show notes wherever you're watching or listening to this. So make sure you click those and get yourself signed up for the things that are going to support you in your life's work this summer and fall. Tad, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time, for your wisdom, and for everything you shared today. This has been great.
Thanks, man. Take care.